magic of social media is that it allows us to create our own brands and to grow them and to give them, make them multidimensional, give them a personality, give them a soul.
You're listening to the One Man Business Podcast, brought to you by Rod Pensine. Everything you need to know to run your own show.
Okay, welcome everybody. We have here, I'm super excited to have here Cristina Padres. She's a specialist in content marketing and social media. Welcome, Cristina.
Hi, Rod. Happy to be here with you, sharing about a little piece of my life. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I really want to know your, insight, your perspective on what is content marketing.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good question because content marketing it's an approach. It's focusing on creating and distributing content that actually connects with the people you want to connect with. And by this, I'm talking about your target market, because it's not just about what you said, boosting a post on Facebook and everybody seeing it, but that doesn't really make any sense, because if the people you want to talk to and want to hear you and connect with are not there, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yes.
So that is what the value of content marketing is about. It's about, in the end, for me, it's about connecting with the people you want to connect with. And obviously, it sounds very easy, but it's about creating a strategy and creating content specifically for each channel of distribution. By this, I mean Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So the same thing that I'm going to use on Facebook is not going to be the same that I'm going to use probably on Instagram, because it's not as pretty or it's not as image oriented as it is on Facebook, even though right now they seem to be becoming like crossing paths and becoming the same thing with the stories and all these. But I think at the top of, doesn't matter where the content goes, is your brand. Yeah. And that is probably, and it's perhaps the most important part, as you know, about any marketing strategies, brand.
Yeah. I think these days it's hard to figure out or to wreck the code, of sometimes of new marketing. And content marketing is really complex, but I want to know more about what you do. So, okay. So with that said, content marketing strategies, content, a lot of work to create this connection in different social channels, let's say, social media channels. How do you,
how do I work?
How do you do your work? Yeah.
Okay. So to explain, I have to go back to where I come from and my background. I was a journalist for many years, over a decade. I started working in fashion magazines. That was where I got my first job in 2004. That sounds like a really long time ago. 15 years.
Wow, you were young that time, right?
Oh, yeah, I was young. Yeah, it was right. I think it was my last semester in university. But here's the thing. Even though, and when I started in the publishing world, it was all about the stories. And creating feature stories and talking about designers and how they became successful, and the stories. It was always about their stories. And even though you just said it's so different from 2010 when Facebook started, and we have seen how all this media has changed the landscape. Yes, but the story continues to be the most important part of, in my opinion, of it's what really people want to find. So I was in the publishing industry for many years, and life changed. The printed media went through a huge crisis in 2009, and that's in 2010 I started looking at other things that I could do. I had I worked in the corporate world for a few years, and it is super interesting. I did a lot of content writing for big industries like oil and gas and mining. And you know what these guys paid me to do? They paid me to find the stories and to give their companies a more human face.
Wow.
So
that was 2010?
That was 2010, 2013. That was around like 3 years, and they still do it. But at the time, I was just, after a while, it just didn't feel my heart. So I moved away to do other things and to go back to my core, which was to do something more creative. But what I take from this is the huge companies, multinational companies, are doing these. They are looking for their own story because they want to connect with people. Mm-hmm. So after my son was born and I decided that I didn't want to go back to the corporate world, I thought, oh my God, I could do the same thing for small business owners in my community. It is something that brings me more joy to help small business owners than to help, oil and gas companies. Mm-hmm. But it's the same strategy that I use. This is why I believe it's so, this is the value that I get from good content writing.
Can you share a little bit of the process and how you, of course, you have all this experience. You don't want to teach people how to do it. It's something that demands.
Of course not.
It's just like, I'm curious, and how do you tell stories and how can you create connections?
So for me, one of the first things I do when I start working with a client is I sit down with them. Sometimes the way I get clients is either they call me, hey, Cristina, I need to write the content for my website, and I don't seem to be able to do it. So can you help me? Yes, of course. So what we do is we sit down, and it's almost like it's not almost, it is an interview. I use my background in journalism to basically pull out the story out of my clients. And we talk about the journey, and we talk about what worked and what didn't work, and we talk about what brought them to this point in time, and what is it that where do they want to go next, and who they want to connect with. Because as I said before, it's not just about, hey, tell me your story and here we go. It's about creating a strategy, and it's about creating the content to reach certain people.
So basically you kind of help them to just translate and connect their stories to their target audience. And what if they don't know their target audience?
Well, it's part of it, right? It's sitting down with them, and it's just pulling out the stories, and here's the key: what makes them different. Last summer, one of my clients who has invited me to a real estate conference here in Vancouver. And we were sitting there, and maybe there was 1,000 realtors, in the room. And hey, what makes those 1,000 realtors different from each other? They take the same courses. They go to the same conferences. They go through the same licensing process. They listen to the same experts. They probably even have the same business coaches, right? So what is it that makes them different? And I asked some of my clients, okay, so you know it, but they're probably all very good. So would you hire, if I say from these 1,000 people, should we hire someone randomly from there so to sell or buy your house? No. Why not? Why not if you know they are capable and great and fabulous because they come from a different place? Well, it's easy because you don't know them. You don't know them. You don't trust them. You don't know what you're getting. You don't like them because you don't know them, right? So, so what makes you different? What is it that? Why should people like you? That's what I do. Finding that out and figuring out, because this is part. Obviously, this is part of your brand. But the magic of social media is that it allows us to create our own brands, as you said before, and to grow them and to give them, make them multidimensional, give them a personality, give them a soul. And it is through your brand that people will eventually connect with you, because this is it. It's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to be like, oh, fabulous, I'm on Instagram and this is a... No, people don't go into Instagram to find the realtor they're going to hire. They don't.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a great example on how people need time and interactions, I would say, to actually build that trust. And we are in social media. Of course, it's easy to build the interactions because you are there. Like, people are there consuming and they're browsing there. So you just need to be there. First of all, you need to be there, right?
Yes.
So if you're there, just talk. It's like you go to a bar and there's like, I don't know, 100 girls there. To make a decision, I need to talk to them. I need to get to know them. Like, what are their stories? Do we have something in common? I have another question. So on the business owner side, what they need to know before deciding to hire, because for example, people sometimes they don't understand the value of that because they don't understand how it works. And what business owners need to know before deciding to do content by themselves or hiring you? How does it work?
Okay, so this is a tricky question, and I get where you're coming from, because I am also a business owner, and I also get these pitches from marketing companies that talk about, oh, I'm going to do all this for you. But at the end of the day, it's about revenue and it's about cash flow, and it's about how much I can invest into a certain strategy. So I think for people that are just starting their business, they probably will have to do a lot of the legwork themselves. And by saying this, I don't at all mean they shouldn't hire me. I would love to have them. And actually, I can give them a few pointers because I have an introductory package for new entrepreneurs. So that a lot of what we're talking right now about finding their brand and their story, we get that out of the way. So yes, there is something for new entrepreneurs in that. For business owners, I have a lot of business owners that have been in business for a long time. And I have a lot of business owners that the way they get to me is life is changing, and their website, they bought a website 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and it's, it looks dated and it's not them anymore. And they're figuring out why it used to be that people would, their friends or previous clients would refer them business. And now, now, yes, they still refer them, but they're not translating into new clients. Why? Because they probably go into their website and look at this person and think, oh my God, I'm not going to work.
The first connection, it doesn't happen.
It's like getting your foot through the door is lost. So I have another client, which is interesting. I have a lot of realtor clients who, this was what happened to her. She's like, Cristina, I used to get all my business from people, from my previous clients, and now they're not coming through. Look at my website. And yeah, you can imagine the website. It was one of those generic templates that realtors use that don't say anything about her. She looks like an old lady, which she's not. She's not an old lady, but just the whole feeling of the website, it was so dated that one of the first thing that we did was, okay, let's create your brand and let's create the content and make it something so that people, that when somebody gives your card to someone, a referral, they don't go into your website and run away. Let them get to the next stage, which is meeting you, because she will probably close those clients and get that business if she gets them standing next to them, right? Yeah, and so then it's okay. I know, because I've been through it myself, that talking about yourself and doing your own stuff is hard. Why do you get a bookkeeper or an accountant to do your taxes? Because yes, you need someone to guide you through the process. And don't waste time looking at the blinking cursor, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to write about now? This is a process that, as I said, if you don't do it, and if you don't do it right, you're going to lose business.
And it's all about, like, are you getting new clients? Are you making money? Are you growing your business?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So you can think about this later, but anyways,
right.
It's important to think about. If the answer is no, okay, you are talking and you are not selling. Okay, so then you need help, right? Either like you ask someone to write things for you so people can find you online, or so it always depends. And I think it's a good that you mentioned about accounting and stuff, because these are things that I hate, and I'll gladly pass it over to someone else.
And it's funny that you mentioned, because yesterday I sat down with a client, and she's a photographer, and she's asking me about social media. And I'm like, honey, you have the raw material that everyone is dying to have. You have fabulous photos, but you're just posting them, and you're not telling any story. You're not getting people to connect with you. You're missing that part. So I'm not going to do her social media for her, but we also part of being a marketing strategist is what do you need to do to get the results you want. So we sat down and we talked about her business and the people she wants to connect with and all that, and we created a very raw social media content calendar for her to post about, and exactly to connect with her people. And one of the things that I said was, yes, you are doing a fabulous job using Instagram for the images, but you're leaving so much behind because you're not talking about yourself. You're not, and by these, I don't mean talking about your business or your services. I'm just talking about who you are. What makes you tick? Who is behind those images? And Rod, before we had this conversation, she posted a picture on Instagram, and she had maybe, 50 likes, because she has a good followers. I told her, okay, we're going to do this. You're going to post a picture about yourself, and you're going to write 5 things about you, And so she did this exercise, and last time I counted, I'm just going to look very rapidly at it was like she had 200 likes and so much engagement, just because she posted a picture of herself. And she said, oh, Cristina, I don't want to post a picture. And I said, you know what? I get it. I hate posting pictures about myself, but just trust me on this one. Find a picture you like. Write 5 things about you. What makes you tick? Who you are. And the amount of engagement was so spectacular.
Wow. Wow, right. That's awesome. It's sometimes it's all about, someone told me sometimes you are so picky about your image and you're not famous, you're not like super famous.
Yeah.
People won't care. People don't really care,
Yeah.
like people like they see like I don't know how many pictures we see per day, like 1,000, 2,000.
Right.
Sometimes it's crazy if you count them out. Just do it. Like just show who you are.
Post as many times as organically you can do it. So if it's 3 times a week, post 3 times a week. If it's every day, do it every day. But just think about it as a long-term strategy. You want to be there present, you want to interact, and it doesn't have to make sense for your business. So if it's once a week, do it once a week, but do it, and commit to it and do what makes sense for your brand.
I agree. I think that's the secret. If you're talking about content, we need to have, first of all, content, right? I think the first thing for business owners, if they want to connect, if you want to do social media, they have to be there. And consistency is the key. That was awesome. I mean, it's good actually inputs, Cristina, for business owners that don't have the money, but if they have the budget, they can hire you at.
They can.
How can they connect with you? What's your website?
My website is CristinaPadres.com. Cristina, Cristina, without an H. That's very important. And my Instagram handler, it's the same, at Cristina Padres, without the H.
Cristina Padres. Thank you so much, Cristina, for your knowledge, for sharing your knowledge and story.
Thank you, Rod, for having me, and a pleasure. If there's anything that anyone can get out of these, my pleasure.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Cristina. And we see you next episode.
One Man Business Podcast.